Welcome back to another episode of Bopcast, where I interview artists, rappers, entrepreneurs, actors, you name it, anybody with an interesting story to tell who's pursuing their dreams regardless of what anybody else says. And our guest today fits this mold. His name is Jon Franks, also known as Dirty Dank, also known as Dank, also known as Chico. You may know him by any of these names, and I met him at the Vault Music Studio a few years ago. I've talked about the Vault many times, and you can even watch our interview with the founder of the Vault, Tyler Oak, or the co-founder, Gabby. We've interviewed both of them. But with that being said, today's interview is about Jon and Jon's story. His life journey is incredible, and it starts with a cancer diagnosis at 19 years old. So I'll leave you here with that. The story is incredible, and I just want you to know that what you see here today is his personality. He is extremely passionate about what he's talking about. This is not a front. This is not a facade at all. This is 100% him in his element, in his zone, and that's what we were really trying to achieve with this interview. So thank you for watching. This show is 100% listener supported, meaning the only way it grows is if you share it. Just a simple share on your social media account is all we ask if you enjoyed the episode. So thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it, and please enjoy this interview with Jon Franks. Dirty Dank, New Jersey. Dank, Chico, whatever you want to call him.
Hey.
Thanks for being here, man. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
I got to say a couple things before we start rolling. You just got a unique energy, I feel like. You know, you got like this kind of sheer energy when you're around. We were talking about it off camera. Just when people are around you, they want to know you're not even selling anything, but they just want to buy something from you.
Correct.
And they're like, correct. I got to either hang out with this guy or I got to just see what he's about, you know? But I think a lot of that comes from, maybe I'm wrong, but this is somewhat of a transition into your life story. It has to be through your experiences. And it's pretty similar to how a comedian, say, has a difficult life, and then that translates into them, really having this side of them, this humorous side, right? It's like you got to go through the shit to have perspective in life. And so you want to
fuck around if you want to find out.
That's it, dude. Dude, that's it. Perfect start, dude. I appreciate you doing this. If you could, just so we could set a little context so I can stop talking, where did this all start, man? We don't have to go back to childhood. We don't have to go back that far, but you off camera, we mentioned recovery. You mentioned you've been through a lot in this life, man. For sure. So I'm going to leave it to you where you want to start, but I do want to go back a little bit, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 15, whatever it is. If you don't mind.
No, for sure. There. Absolutely. Well, what's up? I appreciate you, man. This is so cool, man.
I'm excited, bro.
Well, let's see. Let's just talk about a little context from where I came from. Born and raised in the great state of New Jersey.
What's up?
The Garden State. I was born at Somerset, Somerville. Had a great childhood.
I was actually born there too.
Oh, hell yeah, bro. Rock on, man.
Let's go. Born brothers.
And, life had some cool curveballs to throw at me. Skip the childhood, go to like high school-ish. I had 25 Division I schools, Division II schools, all looking at me for sports, athletics, stuff like that.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'7", about 310. In high school, I was 6'6", 370. I ran a 4.9 40. I benched 225, 31 reps. I could run backwards faster than most men could run forwards. And it was like I looked like a freak of nature because I'm a big freaking dude who is insanely agile, and I was a second string punter, right? I had two jerseys. I had to have a jersey to receive, and I had to have a jersey to be a lineman, right? So it was fun being that multifaceted, multi-talented person back then. But yeah, at the end of high school, as I was getting ready to go into the real world, you could say, I got diagnosed with cancer. It was bizarre. I lived a very clean, healthy life. I drank, good, water. I had milk and steaks and broccoli, and but it was alcohol. I was binge drinking on alcohol with the friends. I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic or anything, but it turned out one night at a party where I was celebrating going to college. Michigan was taking a look at me, and I was thinking about, signing up there. I ended up waking up in the morning after binge drinking with my right testicle the size of a softball. My right leg had been blown up all the way down, and I had no explanation. Like overnight, this happened. After 10 days in the hospital, they came back and just said, hey, dude, listen, you got lymphoma. Alcohol apparently is way more carcinogenic than cigarettes, and it exacerbated a tumor that was already in there, and it caused it to create an edema. So all the liquid was pumping into my leg and nothing was coming out. And that just started a very interesting part of my life, because it started my resentment of God. It started my unwinding of wanting to follow this path that everybody was following. Like, you go to school, you do this. It's like, wait a minute, you're 18 years old and you're told you're going to be dead in 6 months.
What? Oh, okay. So that they told you.
Yeah,
my next question was, what did they tell you?
Yeah. So the prognosis was, you're going to die. This is going to spread, and it's a stage 2 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, large B cell, intermediate growth, and if it was left untreated, 6 to 9 months, it could have metastasized. It could have, because they had done an appendectomy, and apparently, from what they explained, I guess cutting open and exposing a lymphatic tumor can cause it to spread. So I had that surgery, and subsequently that's when the tumor did spread. So I think it was a combination maybe of having my appendix out, which was a false there was nothing. It was actually the tumor behind it that was causing the pain. So they took my appendix out for no reason at Muhlenberg Hospital. It was horrible. And 3 months later I was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh my God. And you're 18.
18 years old. And I have scholarship offers to go to dream schools. And
so what do you do like the next day? Like, what do you do immediately?
Man, do
you have family around you?
Yeah, my mom, my grandma screamed and fell on her knees, saying, God, give it to me. Like, why? My mom was crying hysterically, and I'm sitting in the room just like in disbelief. I remember I didn't react. I didn't react. It didn't seem real.
How could it?
Yeah. Like, I was like, wait a minute.
I barely even know what life is.
And I had just backtracked that. The year prior, I had just gotten a knee surgery that was insane. My patella tendon ripped off my growth plate. I tore my ACL, my MCL. I blew out my cruciates. I lost 30% of the cartilage. And I had it all reattached, put together by the Detroit Lions orthopedic surgeon at Tri-County Orthopedics in Morristown, New Jersey. I think it was like, I worked on Arnold Palmer too. The point is, I went from running slow 40s to running faster. He did a job where he made me stronger and faster.
Oh my God, yeah.
Took about 7 to 9 months.
And that's happening a lot now too, especially with knees. They're a lot more high tech now.
Yeah. But I also have to worry. My size. They always told me, it's like, when you go down the knee replacement road, be prepared every 5 years.
And also if you do work on one side, that it's not like that. It only affects one side.
Correct.
Yeah. But anyway, you get this diagnosis.
Yep.
So what is the next few years of your how does this end up playing out? Because you have all these offers. Correct. You think your life is going to go one way, and
plus I forgot to tell you, I was preparing to be a Mormon missionary. So I was.
Yeah, where does that come in? Your parents are Mormon?
Yeah, so I was born into.
Not a lot of Mormons in New Jersey, or am I wrong?
A lot of Mormons here.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
okay.
There's a lot. Yeah.
I wouldn't know, dude.
No, for sure, for sure.
Catholic, Irish Catholic.
And then it is to the point. It was a very wonderful way to grow up and learn about family. TV's off on Mondays, family home evening. You have to sit down, play games, edify, build, talk, what's going on. So there was a lot of cool family principles in that, but. Yeah, so I was going through this as well, to the point of where the resentment for God came in as I got this. It's like, wait a minute, I'm ready to sacrifice 2 years of my life to go minister and preach about a testimony that I don't even know if I really have. But I'm willing to do it. But wait a minute. Yeah. You've got cancer.
God, and it's kind of that thing that people say when something absolutely terrible happens and you do have faith. It's like, how could this happen?
Correct.
And I don't know the answer, man. I kind of, I'm definitely not an atheist, probably more agnostic than anything. Mm-hmm. Really like what you said about Mormonism, though, and the fact that it's the principles. Sure. That's why I love religion.
Correct.
Because I love learning about all of the different. It's a lot of the same.
You got to find the lessons that are pertinent
stories.
to you.
Yep. But it does feel like that. So what determination do you make then? Do you go, are you now, okay, I don't believe in this anymore?
Well, the 18-year-old John, yes.
Yeah,
I
totally.
very
like
rapidly
18,
disconnected.
Like I did at 16, yeah, exactly.
I disconnected, and this was my absolute dinner bell for hedonism. This was, I'm 18, I'm going to die. We're going to go ripping and running. And I'm not ashamed to say, the pity, the the pity pee. It was pretty cool. Like, I really like girls who had I had crushes on who I didn't know were coming to the hospital to visit me to say goodbye. Like, everybody, like, the school got heard that I was dying, my high school, so like all these kids would come and see me at school, and girls would kiss me, and I don't know, I love you, and I'm like, all right, let's go over here.
You gotta
show me how much you love me.
Yeah, come on, you're 19.
But to the point, it was just like, I didn't know if I was going to live, man. I didn't know what was going to be experienced. And when you start to live like that, it's FOMO. Like, everybody, this FOMO term came around recently, but like back in 2002, 2001, when I was going, that wasn't like a term like you heard, but that's what happened to me. I had a fear of missing out now, because this immortality that we all feel as young children and teens and stuff, it got shattered. It was gone. It's like, you are very mortal. And you're gonna die, and you could die now.
But you believed it 100%. There was nothing in you though that was like, maybe this isn't true.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, because
and I would.
The guy walked in and he goes,
Yeah.
"I'm one of the leading specialists on Earth."
100%.
Right.
Yep.
And then I got a second opinion from Dr. Robert Bertolli. God rest his soul. He was the leading specialist out of Robert Wood Johnson, and he was a Marine. And there was a waiting list to get him seen, but my grandfather, who is a Marine, ended up using his Marine Corps League connections and got me bumped into an appointment where he was able to review my PET scan, my positronic emission topography, and he was able to say, no, listen, stop, go this way, do this. And that was what we did, and lo and behold, I'm in remission. So
when? How far later?
It was 9 months of high-dose chemotherapy and 33 radiation treatments.
So how was chemo?
Chemo is awful, and I will never do it again. I told myself I would take a bullet versus chemo. Chemotherapy, essentially, is the great lie, where most people feel that it is medicine. It is actually poison. And on the bag, it actually says, like, don't let this touch your skin, don't handle it. Like, and it's like, wait a minute, you're putting that in my vein. The adriamycin, Cytoxin, vincristine, Rituxan stopped my heart. I was getting, they used to administer it in two giant needles, or maybe it was a vincristine. They used to do these pushes, and I just remember they're pushing, and all of a sudden I started shaking, and I passed out, and I woke up with doctors around me and AED on my chest, and they're like, we got him back. I'm like, what? They're like, oh, you had a really adverse reaction to the antibodies or something happened, and it stopped your heart. And we have to go slower as we're pushing this medicine next time. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't want this anymore. And then it devolved from there to the point where you lose your taste buds. Everything that you think that you would love to enjoy. There were nights where I would cry trying to eat Snickers bar. It tastes like wax. My mom would make me a steak, tastes like wax. You have no flavor when all your taste buds die from the chemo. And like, if you have a partner that you want to enjoy sex with, you have to be very careful. When you're going through chemotherapy, you can transmit those chemicals via your semen, and you can't even have sex the same way, even oral sex. So like, it basically separates you from the people you love, and then at 19 years old, 18, 19, imagine losing your hair. Imagine being in the shower. Like, that was a devastating moment as I'm washing my hair, after the first couple treatments, and then chunks are coming out, and I literally lost it. I'm like, oh my God, like, what's gonna happen?
Dude, I wouldn't be able to take that. Would be different. I'm just thinking about that right now. Yeah.
Like, just imagine your curly locks, right?
know,
and then
dude.
just chunks falling out, and you can't put it back in.
A lot of my identity is tied to this beard and this hair already.
Man, your beard would have fallen out too.
100%.
Like, that's the crazy
That probably
part.
would have been worse.
But I found a drink, a homeopathic remedy, and I drank it, and it stopped it. And
hair.
Yeah, my hair stayed.
Even during chemo.
Zango. It was a mangosteen extract. Not to give free advertising, but yeah,
go for
save it. Yeah, so Zango was a mangosteen extract, and the periocarp, or the shell, has an abundance of these things called xanthones, and xanthones eliminate free radicals. So by drinking a concentrated dose it was Queen Victoria's favorite fruit. And the people that live on the banks of the river in Thailand where this fruit is abundant, they are documented to be 130, 140 years old. So this, and like blueberries has xanthones, but the mangosteen plant or fruit has a lot. So that's all. I would drink that every day, 4 ounces.
So you go through the chemo 9 months.
Correct. And I kept my hair. It went gray. Parts of it did go gray.
Okay.
And then,
But that's when the remission started, after like that 9 months? Or?
I lost 155 pounds.
Wow.
I was 370. I got down to like 231.
Did you like losing the weight?
No. So they put me on prednisone and steroids. So there was a fluctuation. Totally. It was up and down, left and right. Then there was the narcotics when the pain and the thing started. So I had a friend who died of a port being installed. So when they came to me and they said, listen, you have to do this. We don't want to destroy your veins. Do you want the port? And I said, no. And they were like, we got to do like 3,000 injections on you over the course of your treatment. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, she died. I don't want it.
My mom's friend passed and she had a port as well. Yeah.
And
I don't know. Obviously, I don't know causation, but
it's just that it's basically creating a direct link from the external to your heart.
Yeah.
It like any
very
kind
risky.
of
It's very risky to go through life with that.
Even sweat. Like, say you're sweating and your sweat gets on it and they inject it and that bacteria gets in, you're dead.
So you do the injections then. So,
correct. Right? And I started getting pain, and so it started with Percocet and then Vicodin and then Percocet and Vicodin, and to the point where at the end it was 500 Percocet a month. It was 180 Xanax 1 milligrams or alprazolams. There was Valium. There was morphine, MSIR, morphine sulfate immediate release, 10 milligrams, allotted 3 a day. So
you're not even yourself anymore at this point.
No, I was.
Mind, right?
I was a chemical zombie, and it was really hard because of that. I ended up getting something called chemical-induced depression, and for many years, I had 9 psychiatric commitments, either voluntary or involuntary, due to addiction or due to depression. And back in the day, when you decided to take a bunch of Xanax or something, and you woke up in the hospital, you woke up in a funny ward because they ruled that as attempted suicide, even though you were just maybe trying to sleep or trying to. To them, they took your blood and you had like toxic levels of benzodiazepine. Like, that was an attempted suicide.
Which is a prescription fucking drug.
And I took the exact prescribed dosage, But it was just the fact that your mind was going in another correct way. Well, and it's also
and how could it not? I mean, imagine, correct. It's like everything affects me. I mean, personally, I can take anything and it will. Mostly, it's like I can handle it, but I'm affected by things. And maybe some people can take certain things or maybe drink a lot and they're not affected, but it's like
you're very sensitive to external.
100%. Yeah. That's why I'll get high pretty fucking easily. It doesn't take much for me.
Speaking of that, I'm gonna spark this up.
Go for it, brother.
But yeah, no. So where were we at? I forget.
So you're in remission now.
Yes. Oh no. So at the conclusion of chemotherapy.
Yes.
So the PET scan basically is a scale 1 to 10, right? 10 is bad, and 2 is the point where they determine you're in remission. Okay. At the conclusion of chemo, I was like at a 3 or 2 something, like in the mid 2s, and so they wanted to do the radiation. At the end of that, I was at a 1.2. So I did 33 radiation treatments over the second year, right? And I think this was 02, so 03, and then I was in remission by April of 04, right? And that was scary because I had to get a tattoo on my abdomen where the tumor was. And I went to Fox Chase in Hunterdon, and they put you in this like NASA space station thing, bro. You walk in and a laser grid comes down over your body, right? And I had to get naked and get onto this board. Yep. Now, this is the mortifying part, right? This is a juicy detail. When you're on that table as a man, they want to preserve the integrity of your offspring. So the nurses come over and they have this big lead shot put that's split in 2, and it has a nice little hole in it. And you're looking at like, what is this for? Right? Well, one nurse comes over with gloves and takes your testicles and holds them up, slides half the shot put underneath. Another nurse comes in, gently tucking your scrotum and your testicles inside of the other part, while another nurse takes the other part and closes this on top of your nuts. Right? And they do this every single day that you go for radiation.
Oh my God, dude.
And what do you think happens when you have 4 decent-looking women playing with your nuts?
Dude, I could take a couple guesses.
And they would always be like, it's okay, hon. This is natural. Don't
They're like,
worry.
We do this every day, honey. We got you.
And then to boot, the ultrasound, where they come over with hot gel and then they hit it because they have to find, because my tumor was in the area. So she was always rubbing my area with these hot gel, doing ultrasound. I mean, so
it wasn't that bad, is what you're saying.
No. It was like the insurance was paying for a happy ending.
And insurance don't pay for shit, dude.
Exactly, right?
At least they pay for that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All I got was a stinking, nut rub for having cancer.
I mean, hey, you got something. That's incredible, man. So now that this is towards the end of the chemo now.
Correct.
This is where we're at.
Chemo's ending. The radiation, like I said, that was probably over 5 or 6 months. And then, that last PET scan to determine where I was at, they were like, I think we're good. And that was the scary part. You know what happens when you're in remission? And they don't really do any kind of a detox. You just stop your pills.
Oh my God. That's how however many people get. And
I had no idea what stopping a regimen like what I was on would do. There was no discussion with the physician about, you're going to go through pause, post-acute withdrawal symptoms. You're going to be in agony if you just stop. You need to titrate and wean yourself off. There was none of that.
Totally.
And ultimately, the end result was I had to be shown what a bag of dope does because I was vomiting. I went into this downward spiral.
Well, and you can die.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well, so the only two things you can technically die from, in my experience and understanding, is Xanax and alcohol.
Withdrawal.
Correct.
Yes.
So that's the especially because it builds up every day you take it. The half-life is 24 hours. So if you take 1 milligram of Xanax today, and you take 1 milligram tomorrow at the same time, you actually have 1.5 milligrams in you. And then if you take it the next day, now you have 2. You keep building up, and so that when you finally stop. Right, your body has this big load, so you may not know it for 4 or 5 days, but when you stop, and your body's dependent on that because
once all the half-life is over,
it's it, and that's when people have gram wall seizures, and I've watched it where they have almost swallowed their tongue, they break their teeth like shaking and chatter. It's horrifying. So
now you're going down not the best path, I would assume, but you're treating yourself
in and out of jail.
You're self-medicating.
Yeah,
right? I don't know if you like that word, but
I was self-medicating. It's called escapism. The biggest lesson I learned in addiction is not to blame drugs, not to blame the drug dealers, not to blame anybody. It's to blame the fact that I have a me problem and that I have the inability to cope. Right, and when you can understand that all problems in life stem from our abilities to deal with the situation at hand, that's where we start the recovery process, right? Learning how to live in a proactive way rather than reacting. And they teach things like rational emotive thinking, adding another step to the process instead of it being A to B. Sometimes you have to add that B, C, D, so that, okay, all right, I got to break it up. I have to start changing. It's rewiring.
Yes.
People who are addicted are essentially chemically wiring their brains into the risk reward and all this. Like, you're giving yourself instantaneous rewards and you're getting that dopamine, but where's the work? And
it comes down to even checking your phone. If you allow yourself to do an impulsive behavior, and listen, do you want to look at my screen time? It's not good. I'm not saying I'm the man here.
I'm between 6 and 9 hours a day.
Yeah, I'm at like 2 to 4, but I spend 8.
He's like, it's not good. 2 to 4. I'm like 6 to 9.
Yeah, but I spend 8 on the computer, 12 on the computer.
I work over 100 hours a week. So that means I'm at work on my phone.
Dude, I don't even know how you do everything that you do, but we're gonna get to that.
No doubt.
That's incredible. So I don't know what type of details you want to provide about like your drug use experience.
Sure,
no,
I'll go into it. Yeah, I'll go into it briefly. So I did horrible things. I was a very bad man. I was a very scary man. Statute of limitations, I'm sure is up, but will be vague. There was definitely times where I deprived people of their goods, of their belongings without their knowledge. There were times I would do manipulative things. I attribute a lot of what I do today in sales and in marketing and what I do to what I had to learn, the survival, where I had to learn in a genuine way how to trick and convince people that my version of reality was the real one and the one that they were living was the false one. And I became so good at it that I realized what I had, if I misuse it any further, I'm going to hell.
Yeah.
I literally watched.
So that was a fear, though.
That was a fear. It was not even hell. Whatever, I knew that I would be spiritually bankrupt. Let me put it, that's my bigger fear, is spiritual bankruptcy. Because whatever religion you are, I don't believe in hell. This is hell. Earth is hell, just so you know. The third dimension is the lowest vibrational dimension where we are suffering and we're bumping into things and feeling things. In the higher forms of our existence, we do not have that kind of physical pain. We have to literally achieve that sort of elevation spiritually while we're here.
And the connection, though, is the body is the way that we're like the proof of that is that we have the, like, we can only navigate in this one with the body.
Correct.
Which in the body's majorly flawed.
Correct.
In terms of what it can do and how it has to
use it.
Yeah.
It is and it's not. Here's the thing. That's what we've been taught.
I mean, I love the body, dude.
We've been taught that.
I'm not an anti-body guy.
The more I'm learning, though, our bodies actually have the genetic sequences encoded in them for self-healing. The problem is there are chemicals and there are powers to be that have introduced things that suppress the human body's natural ability to self-regenerate. This is where we see the human lifespan has been reduced to under 100 years. When in the past, according to the Code of Hammurabi, the Sumerian Kings list, and items of such of this nature, we see 20, 30,000 years, 10,000 years. And it's like, wait a minute, is that an actual thing? Or is that, an allegory? No, these are real terms. Even when you look at the book of Genesis and look at the, the ages of these people, right? Why are we living so short today? Why can the body not regenerate and heal? Well, when you find out, it's just because that the food, the products in our stores, in our groceries, there's no seeds. Do you understand how dangerous that is? We are buying food without seeds. That means that...
No, I don't understand, dude. You're going to have to...
Dude, bro, that means that there's like no nutritional value. These are fully genetically modified organisms that are grown for the purpose of consumerism. There is no...
Yeah, but that's how we saved humanity, though, didn't we? Through food?
No.
Because what I'm saying is...
This is how we're killing humanity.
We're killing it, sure, but we wouldn't be able to support having this many people, feeding this many people without, like, this system that we have.
I don't think so. I think it's a lie.
There were other ways, but this is the one they chose.
This is the one they chose.
Yes, 100%.
I believe that, and what the evidence is now showing, though, is people who break away from the modern systems actually are more sustained, right? I think it was, I don't want to misquote, I don't know if it was Finland. It was a Scandinavian country made an offer where they said people could get free chickens, right? And so all these millions of people, I think, got these chickens, right? All these people who got chickens and then raised them, all of a sudden they've now reduced the garbage, the waste. People were throwing their scraps out and the chickens would eat it. Then they were eating the chickens. Then they were also eating the eggs. Now people weren't spending money at the store for certain groceries. They were able to increase their savings. They were able to start spending money in their communities, and thus their economy thrived. And this was from the simple 3 chickens each to a family. Imagine what we could do here. Most people don't even know about the tax benefit of converting your house into a farm in Hunterdon County and putting chickens and animals on it and then writing it off as a farm.
I forgot that you knew about Hunterdon County.
I grew up here.
I know, it's crazy.
East Amwell, baby.
That's wow,
Reddington and East Amwell.
Dude, respect, brother, respect. I think either going through recovery or after recovery, I think, is a good place to start it back up again.
Yeah.
How does that life change happen? Is there like a moment in there?
Yes.
Or like,
there's a spiritual awakening that was so insane.
That breed like the personality that you have today.
Yes. Yeah. So I was in a recovery place in South Jersey called Maryville. Huge credit to Maryville. It was the oldest rehab in the state of New Jersey, created by some nuns and a priest, I think, for prisoners coming out of prison years ago, and it became so successful that different, people from different counties can use funding to go there. The men are with the men, women are with women. You learn to cook your own food. Like, they take people in, they, you have a job, you have routine, you do your own laundry, you're allowed cigarette breaks. It's one of the very few places you're allowed to smoke 9 times a day. Right. So they're, even though they can't give you every kind of concession as an addict, right, they allow people who have that addiction, right? One of the big things is one thing at a time, right? I've seen a lot of people fracture in early recovery because they're trying to quit 15 things, right? It's like it's sequential. Yeah,
not only one day at a time, also one thing at a time.
One thing at a time.
You can't change everything at once.
Correct. Well, you didn't. I didn't believe it, but it's true. Like, you didn't get addicted in one day. It took a long time to get addicted to a lot of things. Like you said, though,
the path rewind. Like it takes a little while. It doesn't happen
for
instantly.
Opiates like heroin. 5 to 7 years minimum for you to have the reset.
Wow.
And that's why I'm trying to encourage people to get into cannabis inclusive recovery as an alternative to methadone, Suboxone, Subutex, and buprenorphine, even Vivitrol, stuff like that. Yeah, cool. But cannabis, awesome. Like, none of that is still organic.
Way better than a pharmaceutical, 100%.
That's my point.
Every time, I would think. Almost except for the psychosis stuff. That's it. Like, except for the fact, like, hey, listen,
no, for sure.
you have schizophrenia, like, you know,
for sure,
a relative who's
that's
close
where
to you.
that's where it's important for doctors. Like, I work with a doctor who's a DO, a doctor of osteopathy, Dr. Jennifer Volpe, one of the coolest doctors, Good Vibes Medical, right here in Jersey, helps people all the time by the phone.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this.
She's amazing. She is freaking amazing, and we need more people like that who are open to the holistic route, you know, and pairing that with Western medicine or listening to the body. You know, don't always have to approach things with take a pill. You know, pills address symptoms. Here's the issue, right? If you get into the Vedic style of medicine, if you have a headache, you stop doing what gives you a headache. You know, you don't take a pill to fix the headache. Yeah. You drink more water, you get more sleep, you get more rest, you do less work, you give yourself more peace. You know, these are things that we have to take back. We, as the American society, are whores, pardon my French, for our time. And our time is worth X. And so we compromise and sacrifice our inner peace for that reward or for survival. In my case, like I people around me see me do what I do, that I don't think they know what's on my plate. And that's why it's so important for me to expand my reach across so many disciplines so that I cannot fail, because I've seen these different industries all collapsing. I've seen capitalism is great, but we have to be very wise today, especially somebody with very, very small like personal resources. I invest in myself, right? And only recently has it been afforded to me to have people believing in me to start investing in me. So it's fun, but that's why I want to make things right.
And now, yeah, you have you've created the opportunities, though.
Yes, manifestation. I pulled it into the ether.
You went to
Maryville. Yeah, Maryville, and yeah, bro, I was there, and I remember.
And what age is this now?
31.
Gotcha.
Right? Is it 31? I'm coming on.
So your 20s are.
20s were holding guns, robbing people, like running in
real shit
downtown Newark, Trenton, and Camden. You know, on the river line. I mean, just bad shit, bro. You know,
I would have given you whatever you asked for.
Listen,
my
story is as deep as my fiance was prostituting herself.
Wow.
And she would do that in order to feed both of our habits, and I would have to, you know, watch her come home and shower and cry, and then come get in her pajamas and snuggle with me and just want hugs, and not want me to be sexual with her. And it was a very bizarre relationship at that point, because here's this beautiful woman that I love, that I want to be intimate with, but out of love for her, I can't. And so there was no resentment, there was no animosity. It just wasn't working. We both ended up. She went to jail, I went to rehab, so the universe separated us. And you know, I made the decision not to go back. But she, you know, to the day, she's alive. She's healthy to her best ability. Yep. I love her still. She's a great person. But again, those are sacrifices as a soul that I made for a physical exchange, because it's like it's the age-old story of the forbidden fruit. I took a bite. Mm-hmm. I took a bite, and once you know, you can't unknow, right? And it took every last bit of my essence to change. And to this point, Maryville, as I'm in Maryville, I prayed to God. I'm doing everything I can. And I remember I'm sitting in an NA meeting that had come into the group home, and all of a sudden I was compelled to go to my room. I said, I'm done with this. I don't know why. I was just getting frustrated. I got up. I said to the counselor, like, I'm going to go. He's like, yeah, go ahead. I go back to my room. I get down and I pray. And I remember I had my Book of Mormon. I had the Bible. And I'm just, this is, you know, I had the gift of desperation. So I'm just seeking something. I don't know what it is somewhere, you know, and this is weird. I wasn't praying to Jesus or God for a long time. I prayed to my dead friends. I buried 50 of my friends from addiction in the last couple years, right? 50. Right, all under the age of 38. It's bizarre.
My next question was, did you have to get all new, did you have to build new relationships in your life? Like, what was that like? Yeah, that's what
imagine if all the people who love you, who you've been kind to, and who you've shined with, and who can tell your story the right way, if they're all dead, and the only people around you are the people who robbed you, who mistreated you, who exploited you, and so the narrative on the street is the one that I have to overcome because the people who I served are dead. Right? So there's
nobody to back you up on
there's
who
a
you
disconnect.
actually are.
There's a disconnect. And in early stages of even getting clean and stuff, when I was trying to get into cannabis, there were bad mistakes I made. There were financial errors. There were misplaced trusts. I didn't know what I was doing. I was faking it till I made it. That was a principle they taught you in recovery. Yeah. Fake it till you make it. Right? I've grown. I've evolved since then. Right? And so this is where, being a higher evolved self, there's no ego anymore. It's not I'm better than you. It's quite the contrary. It's that I am constantly willing to admit my faults, and that pisses people off. They're like, how can you just be okay with being flawed? And I'm like, because I am human and I am seeking to be the best version of myself, and if I have offended or transgressed, just tell me how we can make amends and move on.
Yeah.
And
you're not going to deny reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people get so butthurt.
It's crazy.
I'm like, dude, over what? Reputation? Clout?
Yeah, but imagine if you went through, you literally had a completely different life. Like, how could you not have this perspective now? It's like, people, like, what? Do you want to have to force yourself to go through shit? Like, you can actually come to realizations. And you came through it through a culmination of things, from your experience to, kind of just self-awareness probably as well. But
I got hurt, man. Bro, just the experiences, 12 totaled vehicles, dude. From the time I started driving at 17 years old, right, till when? Like a couple years ago, 12 totaled vehicles where I could have died, right? 4, I was cut out with the jaws of life. 4.
Jaws of life 4 times?
And guess what? Not one of them did I have a broken bone or was I scratched. Right? I woke up in the trauma center of Robert Wood Johnson once to a doctor saying, Mr. Frank, I'm sticking my fingers in your rectum to check for internal bleeding. And that's what woke me up, and I realized they had cut my clothes off. I had just been driving. I was in a 2001 Volvo C70 Sport Coupe,
nice
2-door.
car.
Yeah. When we went back, it was wrapped around a tree. The wheels were sideways. The hood had gone through someone's window in their home. I had fallen asleep at the wheel because in early recovery, I was on methadone, and I did not have, I was on 30 milligrams, and they had given me Ativan. So I was on 2 milligrams of Ativan and 30 milligrams of methadone, and I was driving to work early in the morning to Bristol, Pennsylvania from Plainfield, New Jersey, and somewhere on Talmadge Road, I fell asleep. Yeah. And they charge you for telephone poles.
No. Yeah. I didn't know that.
2.
I've
been charged for 2. I didn't have to pay them because the first one, the state police wrote a letter in my benefit saying I actually execute the brakes. Someone cut the brake lines, or they had rotted. They didn't know. They couldn't say which, but I was going.
They rot often. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going downhill at like 50 miles an hour in a '94 GMC Jimmy. The brakes went out.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
that line was shot. Yeah. It was a Jimmy.
And so I swerved right, went up over a hill, and we were airborne. And when we came down, right into a telephone pole. I picture that one too.
Wow.
Yeah. The front of the car came up to the windshield.
So that wasn't even just, you didn't have brakes. There was
nothing I could do about that. And I tried to slam it out of gear. It wouldn't go into reverse. It's like, so I just swerved at the last minute because we were about to go into one-way traffic the wrong way.
God.
Yeah.
So you went through the cars, you went through 12.
And my best friend, John Hackney, was in the car. We hit so hard. The thing that scared me is as we were coming down and I saw it, I went to put my arm across him. He didn't have his seatbelt on. All of a sudden we hit, the door opened and he went out. And I was just like, what the fuck happened? And I was stuck in the car, and that's when West Amwell Fire came. They had to cut the door off. And with the jaws of life, because I was entrapped. The transmission, I actually have a scar on my leg. The transmission came up out of the truck and pinned me this way. My arm had gone through, and I have a scar there from where the key broke off and cut my wrist, and my arm was stuck through the wheel, and the transmission had pinned me like that. So I'm just sitting in the car for an hour waiting for them to cut the door open to pull me out.
And you're all right. You're not.
Yeah, they put me on a backboard. They took me to the hospital. Yeah. They did CAT scans. They're like, you're fine. They let me up and let me go.
Damn. It's crazy.
So, as I said, guardian angels, bigger, higher purpose. Yes. It took a lot of these though to realize, man, I don't know how many you get. I better be careful from here on out. I better respect my temple. I better eat healthy. I better eat alkaline. I better start learning more. I better stop just trusting everything on face value, right? You can't give your time, your light, and your energy to false things, because what will happen is those things will manifest, and you will become part of the entrapment of other people's souls. And that's what this is. This is a game for your fucking soul. Pardon my French, right? And I want to see you win. If anything, if I'm an angelic light warrior, right, which I want you to win, bro. I want to cast my light in your direction, cast it in mine. Let's bathe in each other's light. Nothing creepy, but for legit, 2 are better than 1, 3 are better than 2, 4 are better than 3. The more we can get, and it's nothing about any one person's opinion. It's about finding like-minded spirits and souls who have a shared vision of creation and being good, righteous people, winning with a purpose, right? Like I said, if your purpose is to effectuate change here on earth, whatever it is, saving animals, saving trees, blah, 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 it doesn't matter. Pick something that is near and dear to your heart, connect, right? And then just own it. Everybody out here is just trying to connect with money. And I know we need money. It's a tool. I know. Yeah. I get it. I'm not saying go be broke. I'm not saying F capitalism. I know a lot of people are on that extreme. It's find a way to have balance.
Yeah, but moderation's so difficult, though.
It is. But where it comes in, it's the self-discipline of realizing what you need and what you want and separating the two.
And also, in the moment, making a decision to actually go through with something. That's a problem.
Action.
Yeah. But it's like when you're in that moment and I have to do what I have to do, but I don't feel like really doing it, and that's where people get caught up. That's what I think is the most important thing. Like that has to
follow through.
Just when you need to do something, the second you don't, or the first time you don't do what you say you're going to do, it's the self-accountability, I think. Because at the end of the day, nobody can be accountable for you.
Correct.
So you have to, if we're talking about anything as broad as a goal, that's not that important. It can't be as important as the actual activity to get to the goal.
Correct.
So now, the further you go, the closer you get to baseline reality, which is, in a moment, there's a decision. You may react. You may stop and not react, and then choose to respond in a certain way. But that's it. It's like that's kind of all we have. You don't know what your next thought's going to be. So I don't know what mine is.
To that point, that's exactly, I think, what I was trying to say earlier too. Instead of reactively living, actively living.
Yeah.
Making the committed choice to what's going on, and this power to do that comes with educating yourself. This power to do that comes when you can understand time, and you can understand your purpose and your place, and you can understand like I said, the frequency vibrations. Yep. We don't have to keep but that's it. It's so crazy, bro.
But I feel like you can't not do this, you personally. You can't not do all this stuff that you do.
I can't.
There's days when you don't
I'm a
feel
nuclear bomb going off.
Do you just have energy? Does it just happen? Yeah.
So every day when I gave up hard drugs and when I got into my routine, I can't tell you. I get up for work at 4 a.m. every day. My eyes open at 4 a.m. I don't need an alarm. Wow. Some days I don't even set my alarm. 4 a.m. I'm up. I'm walking my dog. Right. I'm getting in my car. I'm getting to work. Right. I do my full day at work. I leave work 3 p.m. I go and I turn in a Dirty Dank jersey. Right. Dirty Dank jersey. Do all my things. I meet my agent, my videographer. We film content. We do phone calls. We book things. Then I go home and I turn into Jon and I take care of grandma. My grandma's very sick. She lives by herself. My grandfather died in February and I still haven't had time to grieve, right? We put him in the ground and I haven't had 1 minute to grieve. So a lot of the energy that I draw on is pain, and I'm taking it and converting it into the only usable form that makes sense to me, which is creativity. The other choice is rolling around on the ground crying, missing the man that I love, missing the man who raised me as my father.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So he was essentially...
He stepped in, yeah. Bro, my story is even crazy. Like, my life started with a violent crime. My mom was physically taken advantage of and raped. And my mom made a decision to keep me. And I am here today because she is a strong woman. And she came home to her father, who was a Marine, and she was afraid and said, Dad, I'm pregnant. You know, like, and she thought her dad was go get an abortion, go kill this thing, you know, and it was no. It's time to get ready to have a baby. And that was it, you know, and...
What a man.
Yeah. And so, you know, here's a man who built Bowcraft in New Jersey. My grandfather built Bowcraft with Ted Miller.
Oh, wow.
You know, my grandfather built amusement parks around the country. He worked on Knott's Berry Farm, Williamsburg, Virginia. He worked on... He ran and built Boblo Island in between Canada and the United States.
Bowcraft I've heard of. Yeah. My pops told me about that.
Lagoon, Utah. He worked out there, and, you know, he consulted all over, and he was part of IAPA, International Amusement Parks Association of Managers and stuff. Like, it was cool, man. And my grandfather, you know, politician, he was in the Marine Corps League. I'm in the Sons of the American Legion, SAL, because of it, you know, so... you know, I support veterans heavy. You know, our freedom and our ability to be who we are is a direct result of the blood of committed men to a vision. It has nothing to do with war. People get mistaken. Like, our soldiers are over there dying. They are fighting for each other at that point. They are not fighting for any other reason except that they know they have children and family and people that they love. They have a principle of being able to come home and smoke a joint and drink a beer and fuck off if they want to, and they're willing to go over into the shit and die for that. It's amazing to me, man, and I have a high respect for people that do that. I have a lot of crazy military friends.
My grandfather was in the Korean War, and we didn't know that he was a sergeant until he died. He didn't tell anybody.
That's crazy.
You want to talk humility on that? On some... I don't even want anybody to know what I've done. I don't want anybody to... I'm good. Like, I'm just going to live my life. Like, come back, new mission, support my family.
That's it.
Like you're saying. Yeah. That's what they did, man. Anybody who...
And that's where a man...
I don't want to speak for everybody, but for the most part, 100%.
So I hear a lot of, you know, motivational speakers, masculine ones talk about it. Like, when a man understands and comes into the power of being able to take life righteously, that is where it's different. Not murdering somebody. If you are taking that life and you know that you are capable of killing to protect the things that you love, and you're killing in the name of your God or your beliefs or your truth, whatever you call it, right? And then you come home and you have to be gentle and you have to be soft and you have to be fun, right? There's people that can't do that. But the ones that do, those are powerful men. Those are powerful men that we need to venerate, and we need those men to show us, me. I'd love to learn from those men, you know. I know we have to become more active, and that's another thing I think is important to talk about. I used to want change in things, and I would hope to attract it. Stop. Go find it. Don't wait. Stop waiting. I had to stop waiting. I had to start finding things. If you think just because you read books and you're watching TV, like, good shit's coming, it's not. You're just getting the tools to understand what it takes to get good shit. Now go get it. Like,
everybody else who made the things that you're consuming those are the people who were getting up.
Yes.
Getting up and actually.
Correct. And that's where I don't understand why people don't support things in their own community. Like,
I'm with you on this New Jersey shit. How about this?
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, how about the fact of, like, we're like trying to tell people who have a bigger platform in a certain area that we're in that they should do something else for our area, that like we should call the shots for them. That's what I don't understand. Is that crazy to you too? I don't know. I'm not trying to change it. Like, it's like, if I want things to change, then I'll change it right here.
Correct.
I'll just do what I'm doing more or better.
Correct.
That's all I can do.
Yo, I'm so happy you said that, right? The one thing that I try to stand for, no negativity. If you see, just go do it better. Mm-hmm. Go right over here and just do it better.
And I'll show you how to do it. And you could see if you. It's like I want people to do it.
Do it. Drop a little diamond.
I still play that song when I'm DJing, man. You have to.
Yeah. Listen, man, I can't believe you. That's so cool. I used to DJ too.
Yeah?
Yeah. I used to DJ for the Middlesex County Republican Organization. Shout out. Woo, woo.
What up?
Yeah. It was dope. I used to, all the banquets, all the things that, my grandfather would have me come to.
A lot of old music on that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of classics.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
100%.
Yeah. Who else did I,
I'm a wedding
Stevie
DJ.
Ray
That's
Vaughan.
all I play is,
Oh,
yeah.
I do a lot of country.
Yeah.
Pop love country. So it was funny. I used to cater to my pop. My pop was the politician at the event, and he would get me hired as a DJ. And so as Pop would be out there, hashtag Jarhead Pop if you want to check him out, I would watch him. And if Pop would be out there, like, he'd be looking like, I'm like, yeah. Yep. All right. I got the vibe. Because Pop would get out there and he would, he'd just be, and then he'd get some of these, he's 80-year-old man. He's got these like 30-year-olds coming out like, yeah, I mean,
still killing it.
Love you, Grandma. I know you, in case you see this,
but
it's all right.
For sure, though.
Just know he was professionally dancing. He was politicking.
Come on. You got a job to do.
He was exactly. He had to get them votes.
Yep. Dude, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Damn, that's crazy, man. That's really cool. So you must have
bro, he got me a job on the Middlesex County Board of Elections. Like, he got me so many. Like,
his influence though must have been.
Oh, he changed my life, bro. Yeah. He also. I'll put this out there. He loved me to death. That's a thing. You know that, right?
I can point to examples of it.
Yeah, he
couldn't prove it,
and my mom too at times, and they learned, and then they stopped. And I'm glad because he loved me so much. Like, he would pay debts. He would give me money when I was sick. He would just. There were dude. My grandfather was a director of motor vehicles, right? And there were days where I was like, he would see me dying. Like, he would wake up, putting his tie on, shaving. He had his routine, 6 a.m. looking sharp, and I'm just like ready to die. And he's like, are you going to call me like during work today to beg me for money? He's like, let's get in the car. Let's just go get your shit now. And he put me in his car and we drove to Newark, and I met my guy and I'd get my shit and he dropped me off. It's only happened a couple times, but to the point where I never asked him again. And, after that, bro, it was so humiliating that when I look back at it, I was like, oh my God.
No, because you don't want to do that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like, and that was the moment where he knew. Like, everybody knew I do drugs. Yeah. It's a different thing when you do drugs in front of somebody. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah. It is.
It's a very weird thing. It's like being naked. It's like being naked. Somebody may know your dirty truth, but then to see it, it's like undeniable. Like, oh, you're an intravenous heroin user.
How do you feel about that with addiction, though, in terms of people who are around people who are, like, in that scenario? Like, what are they? Do you bring them to the person? Do you not? Do you try to help? Like,
what do you mean?
If your family member is addicted to anything, whatever it might be, do you do that? Do you bring them to the place to go get it? Yeah. Do you not? It's like, obviously this is a moral thing, but like, what's your advice to?
Yes,
because I've been in the situation only with my friends, and then I've sat my friends' parents down with my other friends to have the conversation.
Sure.
But there's no. What do I do beyond that point? I didn't.
So
there's nothing.
My mom reached out to some organizations here, and it was amazing. There are some like Recovery Advocates in Hamilton. There was City of Angels in the beginning, and there are organizations that have experienced parents and professionals who have a baseline of what to do. There's also what my accolades are, or my credentials as a certified peer recovery coach, right? Certified peer recovery coaching has been starting, I think, I don't want to misquote, but there were numbers that showed a much larger percentage of people getting clean and staying clean utilizing peer recovery coaches, which is somebody in your day-to-day life who is certified, who has the ability to do biopsychosocial assessments, who has the ability to detect triggers and refer you to the next level of care, or just has the ability to break it down and listen and to engage you and then to offer alternatives, right? So it's like the physical bounce back that you need to do with yourself, because in early recovery, it's imperative to make sure you stay on course, right? You get past these little sequential points and it gets easier. It gets easier. It gets easier. It gets easier. And that's what people don't think it does. You know,
you're saying the people who are going through it, they don't think it's going to
correct.
Get it. Yeah.
So
is that a big thing for people to think? Like, is that a big reason why people don't just go into recovery because they think it's going to be really hard? Or
I think they don't think the pain of being sick, the pain of being on E, it is profound. I will tell you, like, the stuff that's out today is so scary. When I was addicted, and what was it, 2008? I don't want to get the day right. 08 or 09, right around there. When I first started getting clean, like, the dope was clean. It was heroin, you know, maybe like 80% dope, the rest cut. Today, it's like all fentanyl. It's like gray and purple. Like, my friend is addicted and she's in treatment. She's like, yeah, I do this stuff. It's like gray and purple. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, Chico, I'm telling you, when you try to get clean, like, even 2 weeks later, you're kicking. Like, normally with heroin back in the day, you get through 5 days, you're good. Like, you're gonna sweat like fecal matter. You're gonna be in pain. You're gonna get, you know, tears. You're gonna yawn. You're gonna be, you know, but you're gonna be done. Today, I couldn't imagine writhing in pain for 2 weeks trying to get clean. Right? And to the point, that's where, like, cannabis is imperative, right? That's where, like, and the only reason it's not more utilized is because I think it's federally still illegal. And if it was not federally subsidized treatment, I think we could do it.
Is it federally decriminalized right now or no?
No, I don't think so.
I thought they passed it, but maybe it was not in yet. I don't know. Maybe not. Not that it doesn't really help. It helps a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean legal. I mean.
But they when they can, I think as long as they had non-federally subsidized treatment centers, they could do it. And that was like something I would like to see. Like, all these MSOs, all these big cannabis companies that are making tons of money, right? What if, you know, a portion of each sale goes to a cannabis recovery initiative where people can get clean? You know, these cannabis inclusive halfway houses. Imagine having a clean, safe space in Rutgers and Jersey City and Trenton and Camden, right? And it's a clean space, but you can smoke cannabis there, right? Cannabis is not frowned upon, right? You can smoke cigarettes on the exterior of the premises, you know, like, whatever. It's just, the stigma of cannabis being a bad thing has to go away, because the benefits. But here's the thing, it also has to be moderation. You know, like, I absolutely smoke copious amounts of cannabis for fun, for the gram, right? But in reality, for my personal consumption, I barely smoke. I can smoke 1 diamond a day. I can smoke, you know, a dab a day. I can smoke a joint a day. I can go days without anything. You know, that's where I've gotten to. And that's where it's important. You have to use it as a supplement rather than a crutch. That's what and you need to actually live your life on top of it if you're going to do it. Correct.
Yeah.
You know, it's
you can't let it consume your life. But the thing is, it doesn't really. It just is a factor for people sometimes, where it's like they're also eating like shit, not working out, unhealthy,
and people
plus
need
smoking a ton of weed, plus drinking a little too much, and it, you know, it's like
people need to keep their opinions to themselves sometimes. Like, damn, if somebody's doing all right smoking bud, and like you just want to gripe about the smell, like, just be quiet
or get used to it.
Are they a better person? Do they smell like pot? Cool. That's like the biggest concern I hear people, you know, like I'm trying to figure it out. Like, what is the big gripe about potheads? And it seems to be the smell. It seems to be people are offended by the smell. If you don't
smoke, then you don't like it, which I get.
Yeah.
But
damn, I love it though. It smells so good.
Dude,
it smells so good in here.
My girlfriend couldn't handle it, dude, in the beginning of our relationship. Like, not that she couldn't handle it in terms of like emotionally or anything. She just, something with the smell, it must have tied back to something else, or she just...
so in some cannabis, there's VOCs, volatile organic compounds. So it could be on a very biological level that she is repulsed by it.
Yeah, that's what it... I think, because it seemed automatic. It didn't seem like... It wasn't her opinion. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
But then she got used to it as she hung out with me more. But I was like, hey, I'm kind of going to do this sometimes. Like,
I'm going to get all super stony, no baloney.
Now she's taking no, she's good. She's not doing anything, by the way, for the books.
On the record.
I'm good. I can say whatever I want.
I gotta watch when I talk.
We're gonna fire up a quick solventless diamond dab here. This is cold starting, by the way.
So we got a cold start.
Yeah, cold starting is utilizing a quartz banger from a state of room temperature. You put your product in before, and then you heat from that to the point of convection.
Okay. We getting this, Brother B?
Oh, yeah.
The benefit of this is you get to experience the full spectrum of cannabinoids, whereas if you hot dab, you are missing certain portions, sometimes the flavor spectrum, sometimes in the actual cannabinoids, right? So I encourage cold starting for the maximum taste to waste ratio, right?
Okay.
Which means the amount of product you're utilizing with, as it's consuming, you want to get to that perfect point where the value is achieved.
Is the worst way to smoke just regular weed in like a joint, like the least is that the least efficient way?
I will put it this way: it depends on what you want to look at. If you want to look at danger, in my opinion, I would look at the carcinogenic factor. And smoking cannabis, where it is wrapped in a blunt wrap or papers, right? You're actually catalyzing and creating multiple compounds far worse than if you are dabbing concentrates with indirect heat. The issue is you have to be dabbing solventless concentrates, not concentrates.
Why would there be a solvent?
It's hydrocarbon extracts.
Oh, okay.
So
the
most cannabis
way it's extracted would include the solvent.
Correct. Most extraction methods, like when I was on Vice TV, that was another thing, right?
That was cool, man.
When I was on Vice, it was for BHO, the dangers of BHO, and
which is dabs.
So it's like shatter, crumble, distillates, all that stuff.
And what is this stuff generally? This is concentrated.
So they're basically taking the THC and washing it off of the plant material using a solvent.
Okay.
Right? And so they pack plant material into a metallic tube. This is the rudimentary way, and they put butane cans on top and they blast it. They just and that butane goes down through it, freezes and liquefies, and it pulls that THC, the trichol, all that off, and then it drips down into a catch tray underneath, right? And that's where all that butane is degassing from that like caramel stuff, and that's where it's dangerous. If there's an ignition, an arc, a spark, boom,
oh yeah,
it'll blow up. But it's not to say all BHO is bad. I don't want to say that either. Okay. There are plenty of high-tech systems that are, what are they called, closed-looped. Closed-loop systems are known for very thoroughly degassing and eliminating most of the butane. I still do not prefer hydrocarbon extracts, even under the most, I guess, best closed loop system you could have. I would still prefer solventless. You're literally talking about water, ice, and flour. Now that's what I'm smoking, right?
No butane.
No butane.
No
chemical, no hydrocarbons at all. No
smoking
carbon dioxide.
Anything that's touched or been around or went through butane just doesn't sound like it would be good for
Correct.
you.
And Nick Hizak, my agent and buddy over there, he's actually witnessed this. I had to work with doctors and find out why I was getting debilitating cramps. I was consuming edibles that were made with distillate, which was made with BHO, poorly made BHO. And the butane was so abundant that it was getting into my bloodstream, and it was causing like my muscles to spasm anytime within an hour of eating a BHO distillate based edible. It was only when I experimented and stopped all edibles, stopped all cannabis, everything I was smoking, all the cramps
stopped. So you did
stopped.
An elimination diet almost of weed.
Yep. And then I experimented and only ate solventless edibles, and it never happened again.
Huh.
And that's when I started smoking only hash rosin, and it all went away. I would get cramps in my jaw, in my neck, in my armpits, all over when I would consume distillate. That's how I can know. I still do get cramps. I will know if I'm being slip disc, to the point where I even might trigger myself sometimes, and if I'm in a pinch, hit a cart, and it's almost like that is the behavior that needs to be eliminated, right? That is the old stinking thinking that, for me, in a moment of, hey, I need some cannabis quickly activated into my system, I hit that cart. But it's like, wait a minute, dude. You already know the dangers of that. But there comes the time, it's like, damn, I don't have the money to afford the hash rosin cart right now. But I need the medicine. Right? So you have to compromise. And that's what sucks. Right? So that's why...
And you're not...
And that's why
you're doing what you do, so we don't have to compromise.
And that's why I'm trying to do what I'm doing.
Know and
right.
understand.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why I see a lot of influencers doing. And it's cool. And like, it's like, yo, if I could subsidize a portion of what I need or what I utilize for pain management between my knee. I also have spinal fusions. My spine's fused. Right? I had spinal surgeries on my neck and everything. And so cannabis for me is about anti-inflammatory properties as well, you know, activating and stimulating the endocannabinoid system. Yeah. There's not many ways to do that because the endocannabinoid system requires cannabinoids to be stimulated.
And this is mostly for people who would be doing it, especially medically, and just not knowing, like, sure, you might, people for leisure, you know, it might be a solvent or a non-solvent thing, but especially for those people who have to go through something on top of this, and now you have an external symptom. It's like, yeah, dude, if you're just smoking and you feel, you get cramps, all right, cool. But if somebody's also going through some kind of disease, whether it be cancer or from the worst case scenario to, who knows, sleep, even just
my mom
sleep apnea,
scared the crap out of me when she said, John, what happens when it hits your heart? Your heart's a muscle. What happens when it hits do I have a heart attack? That's why I really had to start looking at, like, damn, I cannot mess with this. I have to stop all BHO. I have to stop the PHO, which is pentane. Any kind of those.
But it can't be good for anybody. It's like plastics, right?
Again, it's this is like one of those things where, like, because I'm in the community, I want to respectfully not just like.
No, I get it.
But I will.
You're not shitting on it.
Correct. I will say my preference and my personal opinion for the benefit of my body is always solventless.
Well, also, everybody's body's different. Do it. If it doesn't
solventless can't hurt.
Way,
I don't think solventless can hurt people. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like BHO might have a higher risk. And so here's the point, I guess, why people would choose BHO or hydrocarbon extracts over solventless. There actually is a faster activation time. So again, that's also where the human psychology comes into this. Do you want the activation time? Do you want the larger amount? Like with shatter, you can get into the high 90% THC, but that's where you're also getting like I just, when I see these people hitting big things of shatter, I cringe.
It looks so cool.
I know, but I cringe, dude.
Or maybe it doesn't look cool. I don't know. To me,
it does. To most people, it does look cool, and that's why I say, for me personally, I don't know. I would rather see somebody hitting a hash waterfall out of a fresh press hash, dripping out of a waterfall into a banger. Like that would be boss.
Hash,
baby.
I've only been put on hash a couple of times in my life.
Hash rosin, live hash rosin, and full spectrum fresh press.
Have you done like regular hash?
Yeah, yeah. Like the like Moroccan hash.
So that's where that resin comes from.
No,
is from the
nope.
Oh, no. This is different.
Yes, this is different. It comes from a multitude. So there's a multitude of ways to do it. There's dry sift keef. There's bubble hash. There's that other hash. The way you press and the micron bag, there's many variables and factors that go into it, but depending on your base material, it will give you a different end result. So if you want, your cold cure live rosins, if you want your full spectrum, if you want your solventless diamonds, right, each one of these.
So this is like a craft beer level.
Yes.
We'll probably above
correct
that,
so
but
these hashins and these people, like, shout out the Brianist. Awesome. Love the content. Like, check him out at the Brianist. Okay. Like, truly amazing hash content, right? And I think it's Mr. Rosin's Neighborhood. Another amazing hash content. These are like artisanal hashins that are taking, raw product and pressing it with their, like the Brianist, he made like the Zach Saved by the Bell cell phone out of hash. and he's made like an apple out of hash. He's made bananas out of hash because they're
hash
pressing.
art.
Yeah, it's hash art. Like legit.
That's crazy.
Like hash rosin art.
Yeah.
That's the more. It's worth its weight in gold. Like almost.
Yeah. That's
like
a lot of
ounces. Can be
hash.
1,200, 1,800, 1,000. So it's bizarre. You know, when you see people playing with it.
It's almost more similar to glass than it is any other weed.
But this is the crazy part. You smoke it, so it goes away.
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
So it's worth all of that, but it's like such a bougie, and that's why
ice sculptures are dumb compared to that.
Yeah, a lot of people think they can't afford it, and I'm like, but you can get grams like cheap. You know, they're only like 30, 40, 50 bucks. It just, you know, just don't look at the ounces. You can't afford ounces. Okay, cool. Like, definitely get some hash for yourself. Hash rosin. It's some good shit, man.
Dude, I'm gonna steer us back one more time.
Yeah.
Just for me. And I love talking about weed,
man.
so I'm glad I think we have a little bit more to cover on that as well. But
no doubt, bro.
So I want to like I guess come up to speed to like the last since I met you maybe like 5 years. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
like
with Sando and the music.
But yeah, say like 5-10 years ago now. Like getting
Word.
into the mute. Like where did that hip hop?
Yeah, dude.
And...
Oh, bro. So I used to play the alto saxophone. My mom went. You know, she was offered to go to Juilliard, and some stuff came up, so she didn't get to finish. But she played at Carnegie Hall. She's a composer and always encouraged music. So I've had a musical ear my whole life. I was on vacation down in Florida with my family for a cousin's wedding, and Hurricane Michael happened. I ended up being forced up to Daytona, Orlando area, and stayed at this hotel. Ended up going out, having a case of beer and some pot, and I'm just looking for a place to chill. And I heard like, some beatboxing, some rapping, and it was Sando and his brother and some homies. It was the first time I ever met him. Gave him the beer and all that stuff, and I was like, dude, let me hear what you got, because like I was listening, that's pretty cool. And he started freestyling, and I'm like, holy crap. And then he showed me his song Run Run, and I was like, yo, what? I'm like, who knows about you? And I'm looking, he's like, nobody knows about this guy. I'm like, yo, I want to work with you. I was like, I don't know what we can do, but I believe in you. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I think you have a bigger purpose. And we did some CE5 protocol meditation. You can check that out. Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, Dr. Stephen Greer. But yeah, we did some cool stuff, saw some cool things happen. And I said, call me for the next 6 months. You call me for the next 6 months, we'll see what I can do for you, right? In that time, it was funny. I watched this documentary on Logic and Lenbo, right? And I was in construction.
My homies, dude. Not my homies, but I fucking love those guys.
I was in construction, and I'm like, damn, I was like, bro, what if I just found, like, my Logic? Like, I was like, what if I just found...
Dude, you got inspired right quick on that.
I was like, what if I found my dude? Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm going to offer him to live with me for a year. He can sleep on my floor. I was like, I can't pay him. But I was like, I make enough money. Maybe we can just go and do shit all the time. I ended up finding... He called me 6 months, did it, boom. I said, all right, bet I'm going to do this. I saved up my money, and I flew him up here from Houston, Texas. And he had an air mattress on my floor for a year in Piscataway, New Jersey. And we literally started going event to event, and I stumbled into the Mad Minds. And that's...
How?
I was going online looking through Instagram accounts.
Wow, so you just found it.
Yes, I just found it through Instagram.
For people listening, Mad Minds, Turkish Royale, had him on the podcast.
Yo, shout out Turkish Royale.
He's done a lot. And shout out to every single person.
Oh, everybody in Mad Minds. Oh, yeah.
For me to list
AK-40
right now,
Devin, everybody.
Neither of us would be in the position. I mean, actually, yeah. I wouldn't be here without Tyler at the vault. So.
Oh, dude. What?
With you. I would be here with you.
Yo, shout out Tyler.
Yo,
Tyler was Tyler in the Vault was the first studio that I approached to do mixing and mastering for Sando. And then that's where MBM Franco came. I brought a lot of artists in there and started to collaborate with all these people. Progress.
Turk and Progress, that's how I met them, is that they were inside, I think. They were all there recording, and I
King Lucy.
Yep, everybody, bro. And I answered a Instagram story that Tyler put up, and he was saying that, hey, we're looking for somebody to intern at the studio for free or hang out, make content or whatever. I don't even know what it was. I guess it was just to have somebody hang out there and watch what's going on. So he said I could do it, and that's how I met all those guys. So you met them through just just looking around.
I hired him a lot.
And you also you hired him. You found the Mad Minds through just figuring it out and looking it up.
I think it actually may have been.
Maybe it was through the vault.
Through the vault.
Now
it may have been. It may have been.
That's how I found them too.
Yeah.
Dude, that studio, and it's like the funny thing is too, it's not like Tyler meant for that to happen. It's just his studio was there.
Oh, yeah.
Is the place.
It was the
his
perfect
studio
time.
is the place.
Dude,
so.
I have videos on my old account at JLX Entertainment. You can check where we were standing outside the vault, and it was like Turkish Royale, Sando, Tunes, King Lucy, Progress.
I have the videos, dude.
Yeah, I think you were there.
I have the videos.
Yeah.
Of them freestyling.
Yeah, and they were all in those
Crazy,
circles,
bro.
like just going nuts. Oh man! And then there was those times where like with Simon, we were in that other studio in Totowa. You know, where there's a picture of Meek Mills on the wall. And then,
I wasn't in this one, but he's told me about this one. Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, and that was the crazy thing. We were in studios, bro. I had a lawsuit that I had gotten some money for, and you know, after my child support was paid out of that, and a little bit I had left, I was like, hey, I need to invest in something. I don't know what I can do. So I was like, maybe I can put some money into this kid. So we made songs, try to get him ASCAP, BMI, try to do things right. I approached Samad Savage once too. I'm so mad I didn't take the full package back then, because he literally was willing to give game for a really good price, and he had a system that he was trying to help people become empowered, in their music and do things right. And, it wasn't that it was just like, damn, I wish I had more resources.
Samad is another one.
But he's just so damn cool.
He's so cool, and he also is the nicest dude. This dude doesn't even know me. I'm like, this guy's the man, bro. He's going up there ripping auto-tune. He had his fiance or wife at the time with him, and I met both of them. Like, hey, what's up? And then I hit him up one day to be on the podcast. Dude, this was like Tunes level or before that in terms of one camera, the whole thing. It's like crazy, man. He still did it.
Oh yeah,
and I, told him he's got to get back on again. But like that, now we're homies. But
dude,
just
Samad,
crazy, man. Nicest guy ever.
Dude, Samad did a huge I guess it was a mutual favor back and forth, because I trying to get him an opportunity to perform. Right, I work with a New York group called Ganja Pigs, and they were doing an event one night with like music and rappers and freestyle, and I'm like, yo, I know somebody I want to bring up here, like, because it's and I'm Jersey, and this is New York, this is New York City,
it's another level,
and
another game. Sorry,
I'm like, yo, I want to bring up somebody worthy who's gonna hang and who's the performer, and so I was like, yo, Samad, John Boyera, DJ Mad Max, they're doing this thing, Frenchie the God's there, a bunch of musicians there, they're all vending and blah 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 blah. You want to come up and perform and do your thing? He's like, yeah, man. Oh, dude, thank you for this opportunity. Da, 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 da. And so the event comes up, and he comes in, and I remember, all these cannabis vendors have all their tables out and they're vending, and this is like, this is our spot doing our thing, and he comes in, he has this vocal, I guess his box,
yes.
And he has his microphone.
He borrowed my 20-foot cord for that one time. That's how I know about this.
And he has all this stuff, and he plugging in, he's setting up, and he's like starting his thing, and he's like, oh, hold up, because nobody was like really paying attention. And then all of a sudden, like, he goes into his set, and like everybody who was shopping stopped and turned, and I'm standing there in the corner. I was just like. I was like, yo. I was like, oh, it's over. I was like, this is it. This is his moment. I was like, this is so far. Vendors came. Everybody's phone came out. Yeah. It was a moment. I was like, holy crap. I was like, I knew it. I was like, I already knew he was wild, but he's here in New York, and he's in like he's in the. This is the place where everybody's here is trying to compete. Everybody's here is like, they have the one. They're the guy. Da, 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 da. But man, they had nothing but respect for him that day. They were like, yo, what's numbers? Like, da, 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 da. And I was like, dude, that's so freaking cool. I was like, yo, thank you for coming out. Thank you for showing up. I hope you got benefit from this. Like, yeah, I can't pay, but like, and he's like, nah, dude, this is awesome. Like, thank you for that chance. And ever since then, I've had so much respect. And every event I've ever seen him at, I always dap him up. He always sees me. We've seen each other at some after parties and stuff. And he's just he represents to me like a role model in the community.
100%.
Like that, these young artists need somebody like that representing. What motivation, dedication, and consistency can achieve. Mm-hmm. If that's your goal and that's your dream, that's a freaking role model to follow.
That's why I've had Ethan Ross on twice now. I talked to him about this a lot too. And I talk to these, it's like they know where they're at. Oh, yeah. They also know where they were.
I got a collab with him.
There you go.
Yeah, we did I got a collab with Sando. Check this out. The Film School. It's on YouTube, Spotify, all that. It was Ethan Ross. I paid for his feature, and I paid Twins Tom to do the post-production.
Super talented. Out in LA now,
dude,
I think.
The price was beyond nice. Couldn't believe it. Ethan Ross came so amazing for an amazing deal.
Super professional, dude.
He crushed it, and the beat, the mastering, I was just blown away. I was like, dude, I'll work with him anytime. I think they shifted gears a little bit and went into a different kind of a genre at that time, and so I don't know.
Ethan's in his own thing now.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was talking about.
He's so dope.
I'm like, because I'm listening to the album and I'm used to the more pop Ethan Ross, exactly. And I'm like, yeah, I did like that, but now I'm happy that he's in his lane. Where I go, I'm actually not as much like this isn't really my genre as much as the other one, but I'm more happy that he's doing it now because I'm like he's tapped into his, and Samad too. Samad's not going anywhere with his sound, dude. Like he has his like. That's also why you look up to these people for where they're at, but you also look at how they found their voice because that's one of the most difficult things to do as an artist. Is also, hey. Rapping in the studio is one thing, for sure. But if you get up in front of people, if you don't have an energy there too, you haven't found that voice really, that thing inside of you that kind of bridges the gap between your art and the world.
What you're talking about, I will encapsulate in one artist here in New Jersey. He's a very good friend of mine, and everything you just said is him, and that's Mir Fontaine. Mir Fontaine is the freaking GOAT. Southside shout out. He is a very good friend. He's done art for me. There's actually a piece of art on my page that he drew. He's an amazing artist, right? He did the Gasquatch in the woods, smoking the eternally lit blunt. Like, this is straight NFT.
I didn't know he did that.
Oh, bro, you should see his art. Right?
I know his music is great.
Dude,
his music's incredible.
Acting, artist, inspired, creative, a truly gifted dude. Like, I can't even begin to explain. Like, that's why I'm just waiting for the day that it's just like, wow. Yep. And he just pops everywhere. He's got his 100K follower. Like, he's got that. He's got the baby Rihanna.
The J. Cole video, that's how I found him.
Yeah. Down by the river, bro. That was like this Bodega, actually. Bodega was a song that
I just got put on Bodega 1 month ago. Had no idea it existed.
Dude.
Just got put on Mir Fontaine, dude.
Caterpillar.
He's great.
So Sando actually, we have a feature. We've done about halfway collab part of that. We've had my grandfather passed away, so it got hard, and I was bankrolling this machine.
Totally.
And I don't balk when an artist tells me his value. If that's your value, if that's what you want, I'm going to support you. And so
anything, it's like that's what you got to get.
And that's what I'm saying. Like Mir went into the vault. He goes, "We're going into my vault for you, bro." And he went into his vault. And I'll share with you when we're done the beat, and I'll show you the clip. He's actually using a track and a beat that he was going to use. We went down to Pemberton, New Jersey, and London. I don't want to butcher the guy's name. He was an amazing producer. We went down there and we did this, and I just remember I'm sitting there like, yo, this is a Grammy. Like, this could be a Grammy. Like, what? Oh my god. Like, dude, like, yo, Mir is wild. His voice, his vocals, his range,
That's what I was so impressed with, man. And
his catalog, dude. Yeah, his catalog is one of the best catalogs in New Jersey, hands down. I stand by that. I testify that Mir Fontaine's catalog is one of the best in Jersey, and I will put money on that.
Dude, I believe that.
Yeah.
And I know it to be true. I just got put on. This is the thing. I can't say I'm a long-term fan. I can't say that I knew what his name was.
Oh, you can't say that you got him his own strain?
I couldn't say that.
With your team, with your homies.
Wait a minute, could you possibly say that?
I think I could say that. Yeah, I believe in Mir so much. I connected some dots with a very good friend of mine, Smoke Better BK, shout out, and Smoke Connoisseurs, and they created the strain, this brand with him called Skunkin' Donuts. So there's actually a brand, Mir Fontaine, Skunkin' Donuts, and then even a second strain called Iced Coffee. Yeah. And so, you know what, just I'm not saying I created it or anything. It was just being able to bridge the gap between this creative force and this energy and, you know, this legacy brand that has the power to support, you know, artists and musicians and people in the community, and to come up with this cool idea to say, hey, you know what, you want to do it, we want to support you, you know, let's, on the strength of both of us knowing Dirty Dank Jersey, let's come together and let's try this. And so, yeah, there's all kinds of fun.
You gotta bridge people, man.
Yeah. And it was just fun because, you know, I know Mir was grateful. Mir was grateful for it. And that's why I will always, you know, value his friendship and value his opinion. You know, like, he showed me that kind of like, man, yeah, no, I appreciate that, bro. That was dope. That was a good look.
Yeah. You know? I hope he knows podcast. If he ever needs one.
No, dude, I would love to have Mir like hook up with you, bro. I think you know what you do for the community, like turning it back on you, bro. I appreciate you, man. It's just,
I appreciate you, man.
Like I said, I follow you a lot, and I encourage our brothers to teach brothers type thing. Like, we need strong men to have a good voice and to teach the ability to articulate, you know, that passion, you know, your heart song. If this is a way to do it, you know, this is a model, you know, and like I said, man, I'm excited to be on the show. I'm excited to see the process, and yeah,
I'm excited for you. I don't know how much you can talk about it, but for you to possibly, you're going to be making some new styles of content in the near future. So
definitely got podcasts coming up that I definitely would like to, you know, say we'll hopefully be collaborating on and getting advising, consulting, and maybe production, all kinds of cool stuff. I have several companies that I'm working with that, you know, they're getting brick and mortar, they're getting their buildings built, you know, so we'll have locations to do stuff. We will have events to do remote, you know, podcasts at. I think, you know, one of my dreams is being able to be part of a cannabis real-time news network, right? Where we have like field teams and independent reporters who are trained universally in an SOP about how to produce content that we can easily turn into something usable, into a format and a structure. It's like, hey, you want to work on our team? You need to do 60-second clips. You need to address X, Y, and Z, and it has to be, you know, your latitude, your longitude. We need all the metadata, blah, 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 whatever.
But that doesn't really exist in a form that most people know. Like, you know, High Times Magazine. But there's not a High Times Magazine of live cannabis or live news. Yeah, live.
Yeah, live news. Like, yeah. Every hour it's updated, like arrests, raids, you know, just full on what's going on in the state of cannabis, because it's crazy. A lot of people in the legacy and cannabis industry make decisions based on false information that they heard from their buddy. And I don't want to see that happen. I want people to make informed decisions with like attorney level backed information, just the same, who can't afford it. It's like, why? It's not fair that somebody who can afford an attorney, oh yeah, dude, you gotta work hard. I'm not saying that. If somebody's willing to make the sacrifices to work, just like tell them how. Like, what are the rules? You know, that's where the whole cannabis thing is crazy. It's like, you have all these big MSOs that can easily profit. Why are regular people going to jail for cannabis? You know, like, they want to share their cannabis products with each other. I see that as A-okay, you know. I
mean, but you're pushing though. You're actually doing it. You're out here. You're one of these spokespeople.
I'm one of many there, and I will always be very humble.
But like, you're not. This is not a front or anything. No. This is legitimately what you do. You know.
No, absolutely. Yeah. No, I and to the point where I am seeking to do more. And, you know, people like, shout out Sativa Cross. They're an organization, you know, they do some amazing stuff. He's always fighting for, you know, handicapped, disabled people's access to buildings, you know, making sure people who are disabled can, you know, get themselves in places. But they're also, you know, with cannabis, they're huge cannabis advocates. There's a lot of people around the state doing a multitude of things. Wednesday Mayor, and all of these people moving the marker forward mean that a new thought process is coming, and it's cool. Like I follow another information group, Hetty NJ. It's a great source of information. Magic mushroom legislation was just introduced again.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, legalization.
We need that.
Yes, we do. Listen, dude. Like I said, I'm in recovery, and one of the things that I am a proponent of is microdosing, and even taking an eighth once every half a year, quarter year, whenever you need,
yep.
like that. Because
that's been my spread,
dude. The result the day after of that.
Oh yeah.
Is wow. It's like a system upgrade. Like you get a system upgrade, you step outside, you're looking back in.
It cleans the slate, it cleans off. It's like there's a bunch of shit in your room and you just like cleared it all out. And now it's open and you can see everything.
And I believe personally that had I been able to utilize mushrooms in a recovery setting under guidance and under protocols that make sure the products are safe or whatever, I think that would have enhanced my recovery tenfold. A lot of the brain reset is like I said, resetting that reward. Like you can't always just go for the instant gratification. That's where I don't want to say deny your pleasures, but you have to learn some self-discipline. You have to learn, and that's why I said the rational emotive thinking. You have to learn it's not A to B anymore. You have to put in the other point so that like your thought process takes you away. You may have to say, okay, instead of going right to my car, I'm going to walk, extra 10 steps and then go that way. And then through this, you're actually, it's like, why would I do this? Yeah. Why would I make my life absolutely harder every day? Because you have to reprogram yourself. Like you physically have to hardwire yourself to do something divergent to the bad habit that you have established. It's harder to break a bad habit than it is to make a new one.
Oh yeah.
Like unlearning.
You have to show the body that the mind is in control.
Yeah. And that's tough when you like, especially people with insecurities and stuff. Like if you have insecurities and stuff, like
it's tough.
It's tough. You got to just cope.
You have to push like past yourself, which is difficult for people to do.
And that's why I encourage, like my goal would be to have either large consumption lounges that, also double as kind of like gathering places for something like where we can have conversations. People can come and talk about their experiences. That's the one thing, unfortunately, with some of the recovery organizations, they kind of condemn talking about cannabis. It's almost like you're just on another drug, so just please refrain from that. And it's like, come on. Okay. So like, let's do a new one. Let's do like a cannabis inclusive one, right? I know some people, I've heard the term out from California, like California sober. And I'm like, all right. I don't know.
That's a Cali term.
Yeah. I'm like, maybe. Cool. I like cannabis inclusive recovery. Like, include it in your recovery. Make it a part of the regimen. Make it a part of
the newest recovery programs in terms of the most newly up to date will have the psychedelics, the MDMA, I mean everything that's actually useful to treat this stuff that's now we've been suppressed
even
since
ketamine.
The 60s.
Ketamine, bro. My mom
Yeah.
went to the Cleveland Clinic and had ketamine therapy in her spinal cord. They used it to interrupt the protein, like something with the proteins in your spine, but she went on a K-hole. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, to me, ketamine is I think it's actually classified as a dissociative psychoactive.
You can go deep for sure. You can go deep on that.
Yeah.
But they're gonna figure it out.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna figure it out how to take a capsule or something.
Fuck around and
Dude,
figure it out.
Before we get out of here, man, is there anything? By the way, this was great. This was a lot of fun.
For
I'm
sure.
glad we went around because there's still a lot. I feel like there's still,
of course,
most of the topics to cover for next time. So we got some ammunition for the next one.
Absolutely,
as well.
Bro.
But yeah, really appreciate it, man. Is there anything that you want to cover or touch on or?
Yeah, no, we got some cool stuff coming up January 12th through the 17th. Me and my videographer agent buddy over here, Nick, we're going to be out in Vegas doing Glass Vegas. Big shout out to Highly Elevated Glass, my new one of my new main teammates really taking the time to invest in me. We had a great Christmas together. They've been showing nothing but loyalty. They have some amazing glass. I look forward to being able to teach people. I'm always looking for people to join the Squatch Pack. I'll put that out there. If you enjoy good quality craft cannabis and you want to expand your network, your resources, I have a Discord. Hit my link tree up on my page. I have all kinds of information.
It'll be all linked.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, make music. Anybody, if you need that voice so nice, let me know.
You gotta be you gotta do voices 1, 2, 3 or something. You gotta make a voice acting.
That's
profile.
what I'm saying. Hey,
no, but you're already getting into acting. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Go that way.
I want to do voice acting though, so maybe you could teach.
Hell yeah.
Show me the way.
I've made $80 voice acting, so
no doubt.
That was my first freelance job ever.
It was a dark and stormy night.
It was mine wasn't. I wish mine was more exciting. It was a covered bridge, so from the 1800s.
Okay.
Not as cool.
No doubt.
There were herbs involved in it though.
No shit.
It wasn't weed. It was some other fucking herb. But you got to get into the industry, man. They might have you doing weed voice acting.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, dude. Cannabis commercials.
Hell yeah.
Your voice comes on. You're high as shit. Like, wait, what?
What's up? It's your boy with the joy. Double DJ Dirty Dank Jersey, the NJ Casquatch, the Puerto Rican Sasquatch.
Let's leave him on that, Chico.
Have a good one, my brother.
Dude, thank you. We're here. We're doing it. We did it, boys.
Let's go.
Thank you both. Got Nick and Brother B in the building as well. The homies here today.
Appreciate y'all.
And
Jinx.
That's it. Another episode of Bopcast. You know the deal. Dirty Dank New Jersey here today, and all of the links and everything in the description having to do with him, that link tree and everything. Make sure you go hit up the Discord too. And we're gonna be working on a few things in the future here, so I'm excited for that as well. So let's do it, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I say it every time, I say it again. Thank you so much for tuning in, especially on the video version that we have as well. And we are on all of the platforms that you consume your podcasts, even the ones nobody uses. And we'll catch you on the next one there.
Yeah.
Peace.
That was dope, bro.